waking up not hungover is like pretty valuable.
Yeah.
It's really valuable. Waking up in the morning and you're like, all right, I'm ready to start the day. Not like, oh, I got to eat something greasy to make my stomach feel better, or, you know, whatever fucking bullshit practice you have that you do to tell yourself it's okay to have a hangover. Life started to be easier. So I think that when you're not lying as much to yourself or other people, like, were you drinking tonight? No. Were you doing cocaine tonight? No. You know, were you with so-and-so? No. You know, like living like that's miserable. You can never be happy when you live like that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah! Justin, thank you very much for coming by the Lyfe Choyces podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You've done some amazing things since you've left the nightlife. Myself and all of my friends who own businesses and companies, come to you for Ripprint, which is amazing. All of my apparel hanging up over there comes from your company, which is awesome. We're here today to talk more about life and the things that have happened in our lives that have gotten us to where we are now. And a big thing when I came by Ripprint the other day and you gave me an amazing tour, which just blew my mind of your whole facility and what you do, you made a comment when we were in the golf cart touring around that you've gotten to a point in your life where you're surrounding yourself now with those individuals that are already living the life that you're looking at getting, meaning the people who are in business that have been successful for a lot longer time than you've been successful. Because again, you started in your house and now you have this massive facility, and you made that comment, which just resonated with me because there's no truer fact right now that you have to surround yourself with the people that are living the life you want in order for you to understand what it is that's going to have to happen to get there.
So, I mean, this didn't happen on purpose. It wasn't by design. It just kind of naturally, as I stepped further and further away from the nightlife scene and got further into my business and the business grew, I got more involved with people that had businesses either same size as mine or larger. And obviously the ones with businesses that were much larger, I looked up to, maybe went to for advice or, just chatted with a little bit to see what I had to do to get to the next level. So as my business has progressed, that my personal life has also taken a similar turn to surround myself more with the people that are aligned with, call it the hustle or the grind, but just growing the business in general.
Which in turn grows your life, like you're saying.
Which in turn grows my life.
And so
it took my personal life to grow before I was able to grow the business first. When I was in the nightlife business, I did what I did. We partied, we had fun, we were a mess. And, I got to a point where I couldn't live like that anymore. I was teetering between still bartending and promoting nightclubs and doing Ripprint, but Ripprint was never going to be the main squeeze until I got rid of bartending. Ripprint was always going to be the side gig until I stopped bartending. The turning point for me was that I decided I didn't want to party anymore and I got sober, and then bartending kind of went away and Ripprint became the main squeeze. At that point, Ripprint just blew up because my focus was only into Ripprint and not my nightlife.
So the sobriety was a pinnacle movement for you to create the business that you wanted.
Getting sober was like starting a new life. I had to reprogram everything.
And
everything. Like
how difficult was that?
It was very difficult because I was still working in nightclubs and bartending, and usually the most intoxicated that I got was at work. Oddly, I mean, it was, you were part of the party. You're a bartender. You're on stage. You're acting for a crowd. You're partying with them, and that you party as hard, if not harder. My days off, I drank less than on nights that I worked. So to say that I was going to stop drinking with the coworkers that I had who also drank, which they were super supportive. Anybody I was working with on the roof of 𝐵𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐵 Cantina, like they supported me 100%, and like no one drank for a while.
Really?
Yeah. Or if they did, I didn't see it. I mean, and there was like, we worked like 5 or 6 people together, and everybody was like, all right, we're just not going to drink. Justin's trying to do this thing. And then, 30 days went, 60 days went, and just kept not drinking.
And doesn't it feel good?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, 3 months, I'm like, oh, wow, things are different. 6 months, 9 months. Now I'm coming up on 6 years
Get out of here.
sobriety.
No drinks at all for
Nothing.
6 years.
Nothing.
Congratulations.
Nothing. Thank you.
Wow. That's phenomenal. And your mind must be so clear and aware of where you want to go.
As I'm getting older now, I feel like it's slipping, but it's definitely clearer than it was with alcohol. But as I get older now, I'm like more worried about what vitamins I take to keep myself sharp and, have energy and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for sure, giving up, there's no question about it. If anybody's debating that, I mean,
It's just a smart
giving up
move.
alcohol is a win. I've never met anybody that said I quit drinking and I regret it.
Yeah, and I became a worse person.
I mean, listen, I envy people that can just like have a drink or two here and there, because it is super fun to go out with friends and have a drink or two, and you just cut loose. But I'm not that kind of person.
I never have been.
Yeah, we just if we're gonna drink, we're gonna drink the whole bottle. Somebody says, "Oh, you wouldn't just have a glass of wine at dinner?" I'm like, not if we're not gonna go out and get a bottle of vodka in a nightclub. Like it doesn't make sense to me. When I would go to dinner with friends that didn't drink like I drank, like they're okay, we're ready to leave, and they still have half a drink on the table. It would drive me nuts.
Yeah,
it would drive me like, you're not gonna finish that. Like I'm programmed differently, and I know that, so I can't pick up the first drink.
My problem is usually I'm 3 drinks in when my friend is 1 drink in, because once I get that first sip, I don't know. It's not that I can't stop. It's just like I don't have the programming to think, oh, just drink slowly. As soon as that first drink that's stiff, and you know how the drinks are here, you used to pour them and you used to drink them. They're fucking strong.
Yeah.
But once that first one is gone, all the rest of them to me are just water. And I just keep drinking, and I look at my friend. He's like, oh, he's half done. Yeah, I'll get one more. Yeah, I'll get one more. Because when my friend says they want to go just for 1 or 2 drinks, they actually mean it. And then I'm like, oh.
Isn't it weird that you're in a situation where you have to control your drinking for somebody else? Like when I first got sober, somebody said, if you are controlling your drinking, it's not fun. And if you're having fun, you're not controlling your drinking.
Getting back to the point that you said actually about getting older and your mind and worrying about losing it, not losing it as in going crazy, but like losing as in like remembering things. And
the sharpness.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a strong believer in all of the things that I've been doing in the past year for my mind strength, which is obviously for my mindset, which is all these practices that I do, and keeping myself accountable to do those practices, which in turn strengthens my mind. Because sometimes where I used to be just fine walking from one room to the kitchen to get what it is I needed to, I noticed that I'd get to the kitchen and be like, fuck. And then you go back to where you came from. And as soon as you get back there, you see, oh, yeah, I got to go get that.
Yeah.
But once I started doing all of these practices that I do when it comes to like how I live my life, how I structure my life, how I attack my goals of the day, how I write them down at like what I'm going to do tomorrow, I write down at night, I read it in the morning, I take that with me, and then I accomplish all those things. I notice that my brain starts becoming more sharp because it's a muscle. And just like going to the gym to get physically fit, you have to do the same thing. You have to exercise that mind. And I believe that with the amount of work that you're doing, because I saw the facility and the fact you're married and you got kids, your mind is constantly going. So it's just evaluating what your mind's doing every day and realizing what practices you're doing to keep yourself on that road to the success in not just business, but in life and in family, that in turn, that will actually strengthen your brain without you even noticing that you're doing it.
For me, it's lists and schedules.
Yes.
Lists and schedules. Same time every day is this. Same time every day is this. It just works better for me. Obviously, there's some curveballs with everything, but I know that like, it's 7 a.m. I'm on the computer, I'm doing emails, this, and then at 9:30 a.m. I'm around the shop, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I write myself a list every day. Every time that I have a thought of something I need to do or a conversation with somebody, I email myself.
Wow, that's brilliant.
I just send myself an email. That way, when I sit down at the computer and I have the emails in front of me, I can say, all right, type in the search my name. And it's like, all right, what did I need to do right now? Do I need to address these issues right now? If not, I leave the email there.
Okay.
Then I go back to it later. It's just like I guess a lot of people would say, Siri, remind me of this.
Yeah, I don't use that. Yeah.
I don't use that. I just like the email thing because when I sit down at the computer, it's like, okay, I'm here. I can do this, 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 and this. Or I can, forward those emails of my thoughts over to somebody else that could take care of.
Now, is that, and this is exactly what I'm saying. That's a practice that you have to keep yourself on the straight and narrow of what you want to accomplish. Is that something you just came up with yourself, or is that something that like, because of the environment?
I guess I just started doing it with, when a lot customers would hit me up text messages. We need shirts of this, shirts of that, shirts of that. So I would just screenshot that and then send it to myself because there's nothing I could do from my phone about getting their artwork or anything like that or getting them quotes out. So I'd just email it to myself. Then when I sat down at the computer, I would read that screenshot and go over it. So I guess I just adapted that to whatever thought I had. Like, hey, we need to order toilet paper.
It's funny. It's funny to me because I want to say like the larger percentage of 90+% of people that sit in that chair and have a conversation with me are routine-based individuals that write down lists or make schedules for themselves that they actually have somehow, email, on the phone, in a notebook, that they can then make themselves accountable to follow through with all of that stuff. And all of these people are already successful, not just in their own personal life, but in their business as well that they're doing. So it's clearly a practice that works for people if everyone's doing it.
Well, I mean, I
successful.
couldn't remember everything that I have to do.
Yeah. You're an individual who was in a nightlife atmosphere for a great deal of time, which we know wears on our soul as much as our body. It tears us apart. The experiences we have or had, good or bad, propels us to a point in our life where we have to stop and evaluate ourselves and really think, okay, well, what is it do I want out of life? I'm this age of this person and I'm having fun, but is this sustainable? Can I do this the rest of my life, or is there something that's going to be more fulfilling? Clearly, you have found something more fulfilling, which is not just your job.
I mean, I had that evaluation for myself in the nightlife industry several times. I mean, anybody that's close to me or worked with me or through parties knows that I went through these like bouts of like, what are we doing? We're just partying and getting fucked up. And it's like, we're on the hamster wheel over and over again. And I would be sober 6 months, 8 months, one time, like a year, no real goal for the end of it. Just like, I need to clean up. I need to reset. I'm doing too much. So I got to a point now I was into my mid to late 30s. I got sober at 36, where it was like, I was destroying one relationship after another. I was getting further and further away from my parents, drinking at work. I didn't know which direction I want to go. And there was some incidents that happened that were brought to light to me by my now wife. And it was just like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't working. Like, what I'm doing in life isn't working. What can I do to change? What can I do to make myself a better person? And I had a friend that was going through sobriety. He was about 2 years, and I reached out to him and asked him, what do I do? Tell me what to do. And he took me to an AA meeting, and that was the game changer for me. Being intoxicated doesn't fit in. There's just there's no room for it. It just doesn't I don't even think about it anymore unless I'm having a conversation like this, or if when I post, I like to post milestones on social media, 1,000 days, 2,000 days, 5 years, because it gets people's attention and they see it. And people that might be struggling with the idea of getting sober might see, oh, wow, I knew that guy. He was fucked up. And like, he's not now. He's killing it. And people reach out to me all the time. And then I talk about it openly.
Isn't that a great feeling though?
It's a great feeling that I can inspire people that much. I mean, I have people that they see my stuff and they've waited till they have like 5 or 6 months of sobriety before telling me, hey, your stuff inspired me. I'm 6 months sober now. Is this the kind of person that you want to be? Do you want to literally be hungover every single day, waiting to get out of work to go have a drink? Do you want to miss 50% of all your family functions that are on a Sunday because you got fucked up on Saturday night? Like, that was just over and over again. And I got to a point where I started to think that like, okay, it's my life. I'm just going to always feel like shit. I'm always going to have subpar relationships. I'm never going to like settle down and do anything. My business is going to be mediocre at best. I was like, okay, so I'm checking no to all of these things. And then I take a good look at the people that are closest to me. So my 2 business partners, Will and Jay, both sober, longer than I am. Jay's sober because he's more fitness, and drinking just really never fit in his life. Will sober because Will needed to be sober, just like I needed to be sober. And then a few other friends that I had some really close relationships that I talked to all the time, even when I was fucked up, also sober. And I'm looking at these people, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, the puzzle when you're a kid, which one of these doesn't belong? Like, I didn't belong.
Are you the type of man that does a lot of self-reflection?
No,
not
at this time. At that time I did, because in working with a sponsor and going through the steps in the big book, there's a lot of homework and there's a lot of self-reflection, a lot of like, and personally I was like, how the fuck did I get here?
Right. And while you were in the industry, in the nightlife, which is so much fun, you get a lot of, what are the word I'm looking for here? You get a lot of like,
you get a lot of recognition.
Yeah. And you get that, like when you walk to a different bar or a different club, you get let in, you're not paying cover. The bartender's giving you free drinks. Like,
dude, there's people that work in nightlife and like, they have fun with it. They enjoy it. I didn't work in nightlife. I lived in nightlife. Nightlife was my life. When I wasn't working in a nightclub on our nights off, we were in a club, whether it be like a strip club like Scarlett's or, you know, Monroe's late night, Rachel's, you know, eating expensive dinners, hanging out with some of our regulars that had a lot of money that were buying bottles at like Live or going to Vegas. I mean, I lived the nightlife. Everything in my life revolved around nightlife.
And the alcohol basically subdued any possibility of you looking into yourself to seeing what was wrong because you were just so amazed at the
for sure. And
at the fun.
Plus the other substances that were consumed.
Right. Of course. They all come together.
Yeah. It's no secret. We were drunk. We were high. We were all kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
And no, so I guess I didn't really reflect. I just, you know, was high and always thought that I was super cool. I was, you know, everybody knew me in downtown West Palm Beach. Everybody knew me in downtown Fort Lauderdale. Everybody, you know, everywhere we went,
You were the guy.
We were known. We were taken care of. We brought big money spenders into every club. And, you know, even when we were there without them, we were taken care of because they knew we were bringing that money around. So, yeah, I mean, I lived that life. It was a commitment to a life.
What was it about your life at that point, like, that you made that decision to go to an AA meeting?
I mean, it was everything. It was everything. I was just mentally just broken. But I was just like on this cruise control of like, we're going to drink a little, we're going to do a little cocaine, we're going to do a little Xanax to go to sleep, we're going to wake up, go to work, we're going to do it all over again tomorrow, every single day. It was just, and
would you think that it was possible that you didn't have self-love, like you didn't like?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I needed that stuff, and I needed the people that I was partying with to be like, you're the man.
Clearly you have much more enjoyment in life right now. And how fulfilling is the fact that here you are, so, you know, living a life of sobriety. You have a wonderful wife. I know her as well from back then. And you have 2 children now?
2 boys.
2 boys. Like, you have a very successful business. Life seems to just be going on this, you know, upward trajectory for you. You're a driven man more now than you ever have been, clearly, because your business keeps becoming more successful. Your family life seems to be becoming more successful because of the way you are as an individual. So where are you at right now with that, being a dad, being a husband?
I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm super busy.
But instantly smiled about it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. It's great.
What is that like?
My kids are super fun. You know, Mason's about to be 4 in a couple days, which I can't believe that much time has passed. Maddox is about to be 2 in a month, and I can't believe that I had 1, let alone 2.
I have a lot of men that sit in that chair over the seasons, and they all express the same thing when it comes to having these children, and like how much their life changes for the better, and how interesting life has become, and how you can only express it to myself and the viewers to a certain point, but until one has a child, you just won't truly understand what that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, my mom
is.
told me, like very sternly, like, you're going to change. You're going to see. You can never love anything the way that you're going to love a child. And I'm like, yeah, mom, I get it. I mean, and now I get it because I've done it, and it is different. I don't think you can know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can know how it is until, you know, your kid gets to that age where they can like look up at you and they smile at you. And I mean, it's, you know, at a very, very young age when they're very small babies, or when you go pick your kid up from daycare and like you hear from across the room, "Daddy," and they come running over and jump on you. Like, that's just the best feeling.
Wow. I can only assume that a man, once a child arrives, you have to make the choice to give up the Peter Pan lifestyle, because not everyone is married when they have a kid. Not every situation's different, and we've all lived lives of being single and not worrying about other people, you know, their emotions, you know, their thoughts, and you just live your life. You're only responsible for this individual right here, and that's it. And you're able to pay bills and buy groceries and go drinking if you want. And now all of a sudden, the reality, when you find out 9 months from now, there's going to be another human being that I'm now responsible for. So the choice has to be made as to what you're going to do about that. And in turn, mentally prepare to be ready.
Yeah, I don't think I prepared.
No.
I don't think I prepared for it at all. I don't think I knew how to prepare. I was just we were so set on like, okay, we're going to buy this house. I'm going to work. I was working a lot downtown still. I was working Ripprint, trying to save as much money as possible. I was being pretty selfish with my time doing that. But I mean, that's what we had to do because we wanted to get into this new house, you know, shortly after the baby came. Go to work, go home. There was no me selfish time. And then in a very short amount of time, I got reprogrammed that like the only really things that mattered were at home or at work. That's when I actually decided I was never going to go back to bartending. I think it was like 3 or 4 months into COVID. And I was like, you know what? I don't need that in my life anymore. The most important stuff is here. That fast cash from bartending is nice. I don't need another pair of sneakers though. Ripprint's doing okay. I'm just not going to go back to bartending.
It's so very interesting that COVID almost was a blessing for you for your particular situation at home.
COVID was a blessing for my business. My business skyrocketed through COVID. The majority of our business was hospitality, and hospitality was like stopped dead in its tracks. And even the ones that were able to open a little bit, they weren't buying t-shirts. They were just trying to sell enough stuff to, you know, pay the rent, pay the bills. Then the CDC said that everybody needed cloth face masks. As soon as they said that, I said to my partners, I said, this is it. We're going to make a lot of money right now. I said, these t-shirt companies are going to jump on this. And they've got all these t-shirt material laying around. T-shirts aren't moving. They're going to turn these into face masks. We're going to print company logos on them and we're going to sell them to our customers. The timing of COVID worked out for me tremendously. Personal life with the baby being born and not really having to give up all of my, you know, selfishness when you're not responsible for somebody else. It just naturally, there was nothing else to do.
Just go home.
Just go home.
And I must say, like, I love how you express that. How amazing was that whole experience that you were actually given the time because you could only go to work and only come home.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. I don't think that I would have taken advantage of being able to do that had I have not been like handcuffed.
Because it's not unheard of that the man, and we're going to go back into the olden days here, where the man would go to work all day, come home from work, and the amount of time that a dad, like, because we're roughly close to the same age, the amount of time a father would have when they got home, you know, for dinner, and then by the time the child went to bed, there was only a little bit of time there where the father could bond with the child. And then most parents that I knew, like my dad, worked Saturday and Sunday because he was working to afford a family of 5. So here you are in a situation where if you weren't told you have to go home right after work, you probably would have just focused more on the company.
I might have focused on the company. I might have still been bartending. That would have taken a lot of time out of me tonight and tomorrow because I work tonight.
It sounds like you were able to create a very good foundation between yourself and your wife so that the kids have a good environment to grow up in.
She was made for this. I couldn't have planned this better. I didn't plan this.
Right.
I didn't plan this.
And isn't it amazing when you look back at your life and all of the past relationships that brought you to the current relationship that you are now in, a happily married man with 2 kids, and you look back at all those other fun relationships or toxic relationships or drama relationships.
I think they were all of those things.
Yeah.
All together. I don't want to say anything bad.
No,
about
nothing bad about
anybody.
anybody.
I was with some amazing.
Yeah, but it was what it was.
Girls, but not for the long term of life,
exactly,
like it is with Katie.
And all of those experiences taught you, without whether you knew it or not, what you needed going into this relationship. So as a man, because this is not something most men are willing to talk about, when you found your now current wife, did you know? Was that a thought, like, within the relationship of, wow, this person?
I think that I knew something was different about her. She wasn't like, you know, I mean, I did meet her in the nightclub business.
Well, yeah, she was a bartender as well.
Working behind the bar. I knew her from some mutual friends, and then she came to work with us on the roof. And yeah, we hit it off. I don't know if in a good way or a bad way, but we hit it off. And I knew there was something different about her and the way that we interacted. It was just different. It was like, it was definitely a more challenging relationship, which was good.
Challenging how?
Challenging, just like, you know, to be better. To be better. It wasn't like, oh, we're just going to be garbage people together. You know, it was just, yeah, she held herself to a different.
She had accountability already at the spot she was at.
Well, you got to remember too, like when we got together, she was finishing up her master's in psychology. So she's on another level mentally than where I was, you know, still drinking, using, beating myself up.
And probably since she was studying that field.
She's probably studying me.
A billion times.
Oh yeah.
A billion times.
She probably wrote papers on me that I don't even know about.
But as we should pick someone to be on this journey of life with forever, who does challenge us, who does make us want to become better for us and in turn become better for them. It only makes sense that that's the person that you can have a successful life and marriage with. Is there anything on the horizon that you want to venture into?
I mean, I'm still pretty focused on the business and growing the business even further. I mean, as far as it's come, I mean, I look back and I'm like, holy shit, how did we get here? But now, like, we didn't really plan to get to where we've got. But now that we realize what we can do, we're making some plans to go even further and grow this business even more. And then, I guess the American dream is to grow a big business and sell it and retire. I guess that's on the horizon
That's what
for
some
one day.
people
Yeah, but
say,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've got lots of time for that. I mean, I feel like I'm still pretty
Well, you're
young.
only like 42?
42.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, you got at
42.
least 8 more years before you have
42.
to
I mean,
worry about.
in how the business has grown in just like the last 4 or 5 years, if we keep multiplying that over the next 10 years, I mean, we got something really big. So, I mean, I always think like, oh, maybe I could get into something else, what I want to do. But like, I actually really enjoy what I do. I love the machinery. I love the creative of it because being in, decorating custom apparel for people, everybody that comes to me has a different job. Like you want something like this, somebody wants something like that. It's always creative. People are asking us to do things that like are out of the norm. Like,
Can you do
how
this?
can we get this
Yeah.
done? How can we make this happen for this person?
Well,
The making deals, like, these big companies come to us and they want to make deals with us. I love the making a deal part.
yeah.
I love seeing like when, oh, this invoice is paid, boop. And you're like, whoa, like, all right, let's go, and then big clients refer more big clients and it's another deal and another deal.
And I'm a small client. We also tell people about you. You know what I mean? Like it's you have a good strategy because you're true to yourself and you bring yourself into your business. Like when I showed up the other day to pick up my product, you took the time to walk me around and take me in the golf cart to all the other bays that your company has with its machinery and took the time to express to me what all the machines do. I then went home to the compound and I felt like I was in such a good mood because I just got to see all this stuff. And Cameron tells me he got to do the same thing. So I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what this motherfucker is doing. He's being himself and showing his passion to his people who buy product from him, what it is he's doing. And that I think is the best strategy because if you put you into your company, how can people not want to help support you? So when someone else comes my way and says, "Oh, where'd you get that?" I was like, "Oh, whoa, Justin Ripp, here's his email. You should hit him up. He does my stuff. He does my buddy Brian's stuff. He does Cameron's stuff."
Somebody just contacted me.
Yeah,
that you gave
100%.
me that you gave my referral to.
100%.
I don't remember who. It was a woman,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was. Yeah, she just contacted me. That's so great that you say this, that you left there and you went home and talked to somebody about it, even though it's somebody that knew me, because I tell people all the time, like, if you get new customers and you can get them here to take a look around and, show them this, show them that. You have to give them, a lot of details like I gave you, but just show them around and they'll be impressed. Like whether we land their business or not, like they're going to tell somebody about what they saw here.
You seem to be passionate about all aspects of your life, your family life and your business life. And when a client can see that, they want to be part of it more because the enjoyment that you get, the energy you gave off from walking me around, I then took home and gave that energy to someone else who referred that energy back to me because they were like, "Oh yeah, I got to do the same thing. It's all really cool." And it's fun when you get to go behind the scenes.
I hope it's inspiring too. I hope
Absolutely.
that like
Are you
anybody that comes to us that's like needs apparel for their, they're starting a new business, landscaping business or any online merch store or whatever it is. If they come and they see what we do, they can be like, wow, if these guys could come from, I mean, Ripprint was started from literally nothing, a $20,000 investment in a spare bedroom in my house, one t-shirt at a time. If we printed 25 t-shirts a week, we were like, cool.
Yay.
Now it's thousands and thousands a day. If I could inspire them and they say, okay, if he could do it, we could do it.
And that's where I'm at.
And I think that anybody can, if they have an idea that they like and they want to be passionate about it and they want to stick with it. I mean, sticking with it's the hardest part. You can have the best idea in the world. You're going to run into some hurdles. And when you hit these speed bumps, if you just stop, you stop. Like I probably wanted to quit like 100 times, maybe more. And I had Jay with me. Jay was with me pretty much day one and he wanted to quit 100 times, but because we were together, I think we never both wanted to quit at the same time. So we always just kept going.
I love that.
But you have to keep going.
It's the consistency.
You have to keep going. You cannot stop. You can't take a break. You have to keep going. anybody can go to the gym once, can you change your lifestyle and go every day? It's difficult.
It's the consistent discipline that one needs to become successful.
It's difficult, and you need to stick with it. I can't stress that enough to new business owners.
You need to stick with it, and you also have to have the awareness that challenges are going to come up regularly.
Oh yeah.
You're not getting the fucking bank account instantly.
Realistically, you're not going to get better if you're not challenged.
If you don't fail.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
People are so afraid of failing that they don't even try.
I don't even know how many times I failed. I've made I don't look at any of it as failure. You're like, all right, that's fucked up. What do we have to do to get past it? Now we're in a position where, mistakes still happen. And it's like, all right, who's involved in this? Let's have a quick conversation. Like, the problem happened. Wonderful. What do we do now to fix it for the client immediately? That's the only thing I care about right now. I don't care how it happened. I want to know how to fix it for the client, because we have to retain the client. We can't lose a client over whatever the mistake is, no matter how much the call. I mean, we've had mistakes like up to close to like $10,000 that we've just had to eat shit on. Like, we fucked up. We got to fix it. And now we'll have a quick conversation about what we can do to prevent it from happening again.
I love how you just explained that whole situation, because not once did you try to put blame on any individual that may have been.
No, we'll blame later, but like right now we need to. Yeah, solution. We need a solution right now. I can't hear about the problem. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care how blue ink went on these shirts when it was supposed to be red ink. I don't give a shit. Do we need to order new shirts? Do we need to have them reprinted tomorrow? Do we need to overnight ship them to the client? Okay, do that. Now, what do we have to do to prevent the wrong ink color from going on shirts again?
Being consistent and not quitting is such an important factor in anyone's life, no matter what type of business they're going after. And it's the ability to be okay with your lessons. You say you don't like looking at anything as a failure. I've been saying this. I've been on YouTube for 3 years. I've done a podcast for 1 year now. And I constantly say I've been successfully failing every day I've been working at this. And what I mean by that is every day I'm learning something new as to how to get better at what it is I'm doing. And the things that I'm doing wrong are the best lessons for me, because I can see how I can get better at what I'm doing. And that's a message I try to tell people, because if you don't have failure, you can't learn. If you're always doing great, I don't understand how you can ever learn anything.
Right. Like, I find if you just got started on YouTube, I feel like it would be weird if you just knew everything about how to be successful on YouTube.
Yeah. Like, I had no idea how to plug this shit in and do the sound levels so that there's no feedback on the mic. Fuck me, filming, editing. Are you kidding me? I had no fucking clue how to do any of that stuff. Put something up on Instagram that's like multiple clips put together with music and tags and shit. Nah, knew nothing. But through stumbling through that stuff and learning the hard way, where I actually outsourced a lot of stuff and I spent a lot of money on people to work with me, and I unfortunately didn't totally get what I wanted because I didn't know what I totally wanted, was my own fault. That was a failure that I learned from, to make sure that I learn how to do every aspect of what I'm trying to do so that I can actually outsource the right people to get me the right result.
Yeah. No, you have to learn what it is that you need before you ask people to do what you need.
Where did you find the most happiness through this process? Because being someone that was drinking all the time and doing drugs and going down that road and realizing that, listen, this is just not for me anymore, and getting into AA, changing your lifestyle, becoming a successful businessman, putting your heart into your family and your kids, where in that whole years of practice did you find the most happiness?
Within myself. I mean, at first getting sober, there's nothing happy about it. There's nothing. After you start to clear up a little bit, a couple of weeks, waking up not hungover is like pretty valuable.
Yeah.
It's really valuable. Waking up in the morning and you're like, all right, I'm ready to start the day. Not like, oh, I got to eat something greasy to make my stomach feel better, or, whatever fucking bullshit practice you have that you do to tell yourself it's okay to have a hangover. So, I mean, that probably took me 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then I started to life started to be easier. So I think that when you're not lying as much to yourself or other people, like, were you drinking tonight? No. Were you doing cocaine tonight? No. Were you with so-and-so? No. Like, living like that's miserable. You can never be happy when you live like that. I don't care what anybody says. If you have to always lie about what you're doing, where you are, who you're with. So, I mean, becoming free becoming honest and becoming free, I guess, is where I found a lot of happiness. Like now, like my life is so easy. It's busy, but it's easy. It's easy. I cut out all of the bullshit that made my life difficult, whether it be who I was hanging out with, what I was doing, where I was, how much money I was wasting on, you know,
Yep.
doing all that shit. It's stressful. It's not an easy life. So I guess, you know, cutting that stuff out and not acting in any of those behaviors, you know, and being honest, it made me free, and free's happy.
That's awesome. What you're saying is that your words that you were using is what has been able to change your mindset to get you to a happy state, because it's a proven scientific fact that when you stop lying, and not just lying to other people, because when you give someone a lie, you're actually lying to yourself, like you're saying, and that actually creates negativity and creates an energy that comes back into you, which is next to impossible to move yourself up and forward. So you actually did something that most people have been trying to figure out how to do it, and you did it in an honest way, which is just commendable.
Well, I mean, the first of the 12 steps is honesty. That's the virtue behind the first step. We admitted we were powerless over our day. I mean, that's step one. That's it. That's literally the only thing you have to do with absolute certainty to be successful in being sober, I think. You should do the other 11.
Was it hard to be honest to yourself?
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, everybody wants to say like, oh, I don't do that much, you know, or like, it's not that often. But then when you sit down and you like put pen to paper, like Monday night, did this, spent this much money, did this, was up till this time. All right. Well, Tuesday was light. Tuesday, I did Tuesday wasn't any lighter than Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I did that in the beginning to see like, you know, what my track record was for as much of it as I can remember. And it was mind-boggling what it was.
I've admitted many times with everyone, I'm not ashamed of saying it. I would go out 7 days a week if I was in port. If the boat was docked at the bottom of Clematis, which is where it was for most of my drinking days, 7 days a week. As soon as work was over, I would leave. I might go run some errands, maybe go get a massage, but by 7 p.m. the latest, I was in the bar. And every night I would be like, well, maybe I'll go home like around 10 or 11, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I became a regular because I put in the time to drink every single night. And you know how it was.
You paid for your seat.
Oh, 100%. I had a pint glass full of Jack Daniels, continuously full from 7 p.m., let's say on average at least 2 a.m., right? That's a lot of fucking hours. So very, very realistically, I was drinking probably a bottle of Jack Daniels a night, waking up completely fucking hungover, pushing through my day, doing my job because I knew I had to do my job, but then rinse and repeat. And I couldn't believe that when I made the decision to stop drinking,
it was like going out was like the reward, like
for surviving the day.
Right. For surviving the day, that you only had to survive the day because you went out and drank.
Yes.
That's exactly why I looked into myself and said, I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't going out to have fun. I mean, I was going to have fun, but
it was a program. It was a program. It wasn't a matter of fun.
It was. And it was also, I had problems sleeping because I was dealing with a lot of shit in my head. So it was easier to get
when
drunk.
you consume that much alcohol and the sugar in your body, you're always going to have trouble sleeping.
No, I had trouble sleeping without the alcohol.
Oh, really?
With the alcohol, I just went home and passed out.
Yeah. That's not sleep, though.
No. You just passed out for a couple hours.
Sleep, you wake up rested.
Right.
Yeah. When you pass out from alcohol, you don't wake up rested.
No. Like hungover, look like shit, feel like shit, get through the first cups of coffee, get through the job. Oh, I'm not going to do that again tonight. I feel like fucking shit.
Yeah. Come like 2 p.m, you sweat it out a little bit. You're like, you know, somebody texts you. All right, I'll see you at 7:30.
Maybe I'll be there, you know.
I'm just going to go for food.
Yeah. I'll have a drink.
Yep.
And the boys and the girls, they don't help you much because they just keep feeding you the booze.
They don't care.
Your bartender. They're just like, here comes more money.
They don't care. I feel like I never noticed that my glass went empty.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't though.
They're just like,
the people that we knew, your glass didn't go empty.
I did a shot. I put it down. I'm talking to somebody. It's full again. And like, my brain didn't recognize that I had just finished one. I just thought, I've got a drink.
Yeah.
I've got a drink. I'm going to drink it. I'm going to keep drinking it.
It's crazy how many of us have gone down that road, and it mixes in with the drugs as well.
I'm like do it. In my mind, I'm like envisioning being at Roxy's at the bar, little the big shot glass.
Yeah,
it's got Grand Marnier in it, and I'm standing there and I'm bullshitting with a couple of people. I'm like reliving it in my head right now. Like And I can like almost taste it. It's weird.
And here in
Because
South,
you and I are talking about sitting in the same exact spot, in the same exact bar.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
with the same people.
Yeah.
And the shots then was like a full-on highball glass.
Right.
Like, I'm from Canada. A shot is a shot. It's 1 ounce. It's measured and poured, and that's your shot. But here in South Florida, a shot is a full glass of booze. And it just doesn't make sense. But I'm so grateful that I was able to I've always been a self-reflector my whole life. I've always been inside my own head, which isn't always safe because it's a crazy place to be in by yourself sometimes. But I was able to figure it out.
Yeah, my free time, I've got my kids.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me. Like if a couple of like old friends are like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner. And I'm like, what's the occasion? I think, all right, I gotta leave the house. I gotta go. I'm not gonna hang out with the kids. I'm not gonna put, one of my kids to bed tonight or something. It's like, is it worth it? Very rarely.
I love hearing that because I am very, very keen on having children. Like, I really do want them because of everything that every man expresses to me from that chair about having kids, and how people say what you just said, where, is it worth not being at home to put my kid to sleep? Because you're at that point in your life, which I understand is these are the years that you can have that bond with your child. You can create that bond so that when they're a teenager, you still get to have that interaction with them. Because we all know what we're like when we become teenagers. Some of us push away from our parents. We want to have our own things, but you rather be at home with your child and putting them to sleep and having that, I don't know, reading them a story.
Yeah, I mean, I also, even for selfish reasons, I want to be in bed early. I want to be up early. My day starts at like 5:30. Even on the weekends, I get up, even if I don't have to go to work, I get up, it's like 5:45, 6 o'clock. I'm like tiptoeing around the house, making myself a cup of coffee or, whatever, putting the dishes away real slow so nobody wakes up. But that's just my schedule. And I want to, like I said it earlier, how do I get my mind in the right place to get everything done? It's consistency. It's the schedules. It's the lists. So it goes back to that. I still want to wake up early on the weekends. Still want to go to bed early on the weekends.
I love 5 a.m. and I love being in my bed.
I used to love 5 a.m. in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Life is so funny how it changes when you're wanting to change, and the amount of effort that people don't understand that is needed, the practices you have to put in your life, the discipline on yourself that you have to remember that every day you have to accomplish things.
It's extremely difficult. If you talked to me 6 years ago and said, hey, do you think that your life is going to be like this, and outlined, I don't know, 10 highlight points in every one of my day, though? Waking up at 5:30, being at the office by 7, picking your 2 kids up from school, cooking. Do you believe that your life, I would have been like, you are out of your fucking, you don't know me. You don't know me. You're crazy. That's never going to happen. Oh, and I'm not going to drink? Yeah, right. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'll drink less, but like, I'm still going to drink, And
it's a great feeling.
Yeah. It was very difficult. And looking back, it's always like, whatever. But putting yourself in each day, like each day has been hard. Each day's been hard. The beginning of it was super hard. The beginning of having babies is super hard.
Nothing in life comes easy, but if you work hard to get it, life becomes easier. I guess
somebody said the definition of lucky is when opportunity meets preparation. So if you're prepared and the opportunity arises, boom, you got lucky.
It's very cool shit. Well, Justin, I mean, I have absolute faith that like I can visibly see a massive factory in your future, where right now you have all the different bays that you're doing.
Some stuff's in the plans for a much bigger facility.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the next 24 to 36 months.
Yeah, you've been driven, you've changed your life, you've taken on the efforts that one has to in order to change their life for the positive. You clearly implement all the practices that we talk about here on Life Choices that one should do in order to get a better life for themselves. And it seems like you're happy, much happier than what you would have been if you continued the life that you were living as the guy, the party at the bar. So congratulations on all that. Congratulations on sobriety. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing all of this wonderful information about business, about life, about happiness, self-reflection. It's absolutely amazing. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
And I'm really happy that I get to call you a friend as well, not just someone I do business with. So
I'm glad I came on.
It's really just an intimate conversation between like 1 or 2 or 3 people, and it's just about life. It's just sharing our experiences and how we got to where we are. Which everyone that sits in that chair, and myself included, I'm at a happy point in my life. I'm just happy to share with other people in hopes that they can gain some kind of knowledge or just realize that anything's possible for them if they're willing to put in time and energy. Justin Ripp from Ripprint, thank you so very much much for coming here to the Life Choices podcast today.
All right. Thanks.
To all my lifers out there, thank you once again for always showing up here each and every week. We'll see you next week here, Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the Life Choices podcast. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about
The Journey Life Choices podcast.